Hi everyone, welcome. This is the 15th episode of Warikoo Wednesdays. Welcome back. So when I'm meeting people for an interview, I send them a list of 20 questions before I meet them. And those 20 questions are there in the comment section. So go through them, share your feedback. 4 or 5 of those 20 questions are my personal favorite. And the reason why they're my favorite is because I throw some very hard choices at the individual and ask them to pick one. Money or power? Speed or perfection? Do you think the institute from where you study matters more or the course that you study that matters more? Not very easy choices to make. But in my several years of meeting people and interviewing them, what I found is there's a very strong correlation between people who would not make it very far in the interview process and the ones that were trying to optimize for those choices by saying both. It's very hard for me to choose between money and power, so I will say both. Not as directly, but in some disguised fashion. And I asked myself, why would that be the case? Why would there be such a relationship between people who don't make it that far and people who said both? And I figured that this is very reflective of what life is all about. Because on a daily basis, life is throwing choices at us. Options, some easy, some not so easy. And the ones that make it far in life are not the ones that necessarily pick the right options or the ones that make the best out of all options, but the ones who are just super focused on picking an option, who are laser focused on making a choice, making a decision, and moving forward. Everything that you do in life, every single thing that you do in life, every decision you make needs to be centered around one and one metric alone that you care about, that you wish to track, that you wish to measure. Everything else is a deviation or distraction. Everything else is suboptimal. But our natural human tendency is to bring in the best of everything. It's to bring in those choices and make this concoction that we think is better than the rest, when the argument is that when you make a choice, a hard one, and that, not knowing whether that's right or wrong, will lead to more certainty than you trying to juggle everything together. We all know of how the Kauravas and Pandavas story goes when they were being trained for the bow and arrow and were asked to hit the bird's eye. And everyone was asked, what do you see? And everyone was like, oh, I see the sky, I see the leaves, I see trees, I see nature. And Arjun was the one who said, I see the bird's eye. Nothing else. I see the bird's eye. Everything else is a distraction. One task, one goal. Everything that you do, ask yourself, as hard as that is, what's that one metric that you care about most when you're doing that task? If that thing moves, everything else is immaterial. When we look at businesses, we see that it's obvious that they're tracking this. When you look at something like an Uber, all that they usually care about is number of rides. Everything else seems like a distraction at the company level. When you think of Facebook, all they care about is how many people are showing up on the platform every month, every day. That's what they care about. If you look at Amazon, all they care about from an e-commerce perspective is that the GMV that they're tracking, or maybe some other metric. But what's very certain is that they're tracking one metric. So my favorite question when we sit around discussions at Nearby is, you're trying to do too many things, give me the one metric that you care about the most. And if I find people very certain about that metric, I usually tend and eliminate every other things. That's the one metric we're going to track. And if that works out, we know that the task worked. If that doesn't, we have to find some other metric to do it. But until then, there's only one metric that you track. One task, one goal. Until next time, I'll see you around.